She was so happy after her divorce. She felt free.
A woman, freshly free from an abusive marriage and armed with a protective order, walks away from the courtroom believing her nightmare is over. But just 2 days later, on the very courthouse steps in Griffin, Georgia, she's gunned down in broad daylight. Welcome to CrimeLab Reports, and in today's episode, we expose how a system designed to protect her failed completely. In Griffin, Georgia, on a quiet September afternoon, freedom turned deadly. 2 days after sealing her divorce with a permanent restraining order, Marjorie Krystal Evans sat in her car just outside the Spalding County Courthouse when the unthinkable happened. In just seconds, her hope turned into terror, and her life was cut short. This is the chilling story of a woman who fought for her safety and lost everything. Krystal Evans and her husband, Tom Mallory, were married for over a decade. Their relationship had ups and downs, moments of normalcy, overshadowed by waves of mistrust. But it wasn't until the last 3 years that the marriage unraveled completely. She reported Tom multiple times for intimidation and threats. She endured erratic behavior, utilities cut off, assets sold without her knowledge, even instances where Tom allegedly pointed a gun at her and their children. By late 2022, Krystal realized the marriage was unsafe. She made a decision. She had to leave. 2 days before her murder on September 11, 2024, Krystal's divorce was granted in Spalding County Superior Court. Along with it came a permanent protective order, giving her grounds to breathe again. For the first time, she felt truly free and safe. But that reprieve was short-lived. Earlier on September 12th, Krystal had called Spalding County authorities. Tom was stalking her. He'd ignored the restraining order. She was terrified and she knew it. That very next day, a friend asked courthouse staff to arrange a protective escort for her after the hearing. It never materialized. Later, Sheriff Daryl Dix denied any escort request had been made, stating footage showed her walking past deputies without asking for help. Warnings were ignored. It set the stage for what came next. It was midday, September 13, 2024, in downtown Griffin 6th Street, outside Spalding County Courthouse. Krystal left the building after a separate legal hearing. She walked calmly to her waiting vehicle, probably thinking danger was behind her. But danger was already there. Tom Mallory pulled up alongside her car, his passenger window rolled down. Without hesitation, he opened fire. Multiple rounds pierced the glass, and Krystal was struck dead instantly. Imagine the chaos. Bystanders froze. Deputies rushed in, but it was too late. She was gone. Tom Mallory didn't linger. He fled the scene, leaving carnage in his wake. Yet, the man who stalked his wife couldn't escape himself for long. He was later found alive, carrying a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Though rushed to the hospital, he eventually died September 28, 2024, never to face court consequences, his fate merging with his crime. Daughter, Precious, was shattered and furious. She assembled her courage and took to social media, denouncing the sheriff's office.
My mom literally called the sheriff department the day before because he was stalking her, and they did nothing. Had they had someone walked out with her, like, her friend asked, she would still be here.
Switching perspectives, Sheriff Dix defended his deputies, calling the relationship toxic and pointing to the complexities of domestic violence. There were times when she claimed he hit her or pulled a gun. This was by all definitions a toxic relationship. He also blamed George's legal framework, not his deputies, for failing Krystal. A protective order in her hands, yet no actual protection. Courtroom vulnerability exploited in cold blood. A killer's escape, followed by suicide. A daughter's pain, trading grief for action. A systemic wake-up call in Georgia. Protective orders for only paper without enforcement. What happened in Griffin that September day was more than a murder. It was the tragic endpoint of ignored cries for help and a legal system not built to safeguard lives. Domestic violence is tragically common in Georgia. By 2022, 81% of such deaths involved firearms. Krystal's is another name in a dangerous statistic. But this case hits harder. It happened at the courthouse steps immediately after a final plea for justice. It forces us to question, what good is the law if fear still walks free in daylight? 2 days after celebrating her newfound freedom in Griffin, Georgia, Krystal walked out of the courthouse, clutching the protective order that she hoped would finally let her live without fear. The sun had climbed high by midday on September 13th, 2024. 6th Street padded her steps as she made her way to her parked car. A sense of relief might have settled in her mind. Her divorce had been granted, legal protection secured. Her daughter Precious even spoke of a party to mark new beginnings. Yet at that very moment, danger arrived. It forces us to question, what good is the law if fear still walks free in daylight? Krystal's death sparked outrage, not just grief in Griffin and across Georgia. Public attention turned sharply to how someone so deeply threatened slipped through cracks so wide, and these were her final posts before the trigger was pulled. On July 23rd, Krystal logged into Facebook and unleashed a flood of emotion, rage, and warning. Her post wasn't vague. It wasn't passive. She named the pain and the predator. You're not gonna keep slandering my name, calling me crazy, because I don't want to be with you. You, sir, are the one that has went crazy. She described the harassment, the gaslighting, the verbal abuse. She laid it bare. You've been trying to do everything and taking everything under the sun. You're a narcissist, and like everyone's been saying, you can plainly see it. This wasn't a rant. It was a record. She even wrote, "Don't keep playing with me, because I keep receipts, plus medical records to prove everything I say." But Krystal didn't stop there. On July 30th, just 2 weeks before her death, Krystal posted again. This time she had to involve the police. The post reads like a woman forced to take justice into her own hands. I took the police to retrieve my truck Saturday. He tried to be smart, but just wait. She wrote about repossessions, unpaid debt, and public shame. She exposed how her ex's failures were showing up in court documents and tow trucks. She called him pathetic and said plainly, the only way he made it this far in life is off the back of a woman. Again, her voice wasn't just angry. It was tired, frustrated, done. But the most haunting posts came just days before her murder. On August 3rd, Krystal sounded the alarm loud and clear. She didn't post about heartbreak. She didn't post about betrayal. She posted about stalking. Leave my children and my mother alone. There are pictures of you stalking and harassing them. People are watching you. She warned him to stay away from her family. She threatened to involve the police if anything happened, and still nothing changed. In that same hour, she made her most chilling post of all. It's sad that I have to walk around, terrified for my life and my children's. I know if something happens to me, please know who did it. This man has said numerous times that he's going to kill me. I am posting and trying to leave a paper trail. This man is extremely dangerous. Leave me alone. These weren't hints. These were evidence. She was documenting her murder before it happened. She didn't just predict it, she practically reported it ahead of time. She was stalked. She was harassed. She was ignored. She didn't just predict it, she practically reported it ahead of time. She was stalked. She was harassed. She was ignored. And on September 13th, 2024, in Griffin, Georgia, after finally securing a protective order and finalizing her divorce, Krystal Evans was gunned down right out beside the courthouse. The same man she warned everyone about drove up and opened fire. No protection, no escorts, just shattered glass and a silenced voice. Krystal did everything right. She went to court. She filed reports. She left digital receipts. And even when it seemed no one was listening, she kept posting, not for clout, but for safety, for history, for truth. Now, her posts remain online as digital tombstones, warnings that were never heeded. For hundreds of victims, the paper might say restraining order, but the reality remains if no one ensures it's upheld. That order does nothing to stop bullets. In court records, affidavits from family and friends described escalating threats over years. She'd even left her home fearing for her safety. Tom Mallory had cut utilities, sold shared assets, stolen their cat, and allegedly pointed a gun at their children. To temporary protective orders filed in 2022 and 2023 were dismissed, often because of scheduling hiccups or lack of follow-up. By September 2024, those orders evaporated until Krystal obtained the permanent one, and yet, that permanent order did not stop a man whose threats had echoed for nearly half a decade. In Griffin, Georgia, on a sunny afternoon at the courthouse steps where justice was supposed to be served, a woman lost her life. Her daughter lost her mother. The community lost faith. And so, to the watchers, the listeners, and the so-called protectors who missed it, her voice echoes back. Please know who did it. Rest in peace, Krystal Evans. You were brave, you were right. And you deserve to be believed before it was too late. We send love and strength to your daughter, your family, and every survivor fighting for their voice to be heard.